Okay, so now we want to create a lookup function. So we want to be able to pass in a vector and have it look up the corresponding um, vector for that grid. So if we're in, say, this grid, this square right here, we want to look up and see this vector right there. And so first we need to have, let's put a point and a vector, and we're going to pass this in so we can play around with it a little bit. I'm going to have that. So we have a grid, def lookup, pass in self, and so for each value we have we can look up right here, and so for each x value, or we're going to separate the directions. So for x, we're going to find the x value that we'll plug into here, and then for y we'll find the y value, and then for z we'll find the z value. So let's just do like, so we're going to return whatever's at self dot grid for the x, and then the y and the z, and I'm going to leave those as 0 right now so we can just focus on the x. And so x is going to be equal to the distance between the distance here is our resolution. So if we take the x value for this vector and divide it by resolution, we're going to get, like, if it's right here, and our resolution right now is 10, so it's these slightly darker lines are correspond to our resolution right now. So if we take, this, which is like 25 or something, and divide it by our resolution, which is 10, we're going to get 2.5. So what we want to do is do that, but then we want to truncate that. We want to cut it off and make it an integer. So if we go, we're going to pass in a vector. And if we pass in a vector, and we're going to just look at the x direction, and then if we divide it by self.resolution, we're going to get a float value like 2.5, or if it's at 15, we're going to get 1.5 if we divide right now with a resolution of 10 and a vector in the x direction of 15. So so we just want to cut off that extra bit, so we're just going to make it an integer. And so let's test this out. And so we don't want to have grid, we want to have lookup, and we need to pass in a vector, and we're going to pass in that. So just remember that we're only looking at the x value right now. So you can see that it's returning the correct x value, or at least I hope that those lines are dark enough that you guys can see. So it's working, and we just need to extend that and do the same thing with the y and the z value. So y, and put 1 in there, put 2 in for the z value, and have x, y, and z. Okay. And if you'll notice that I'm still in the, our z value is still 0, so all of these are going to be there. If I move this up, we're going to get the line that corresponds. Yeah, so it's working in all of the axes.